Nature is the greatest gift the human race ever had. Nature is everything around us. Nature is called Mother as it sustains us. Forests, river, sea, land, wetland, all are different look of Mother Nature. Today, we shall talk on wetland, a heavenly gift from our Mother Nature. That remain waterlogged or inundated for most of the time of the year are called wetland. The Ramsar Convention has defined wetland as areas of marsh, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. Thus, the term wetland group together a wide range of inland, coastal, and marine habitats, which share a number of common features. Wetlands perform important ecological functions, provide services to the humankind, and benefits the entire ecosystem. Key few functions of the wetland: surface water runoff from cities, towns, roads, agriculture, mining, and forestry operations may contain sediments, excess nutrients, viruses, and pathogens, and or a variety of chemicals. If this runoff flows through a wetland, the wetland acts like a filter to remove sediments, absorb nutrients, and biologically change many chemicals into less harmful forms. However, the capacity of wetland to neutralize harmful substances is limited. Too much runoff can degrade or destroy the wetland. Wetlands are recognized as kidneys of nature because they perform cleansing function of the environment. They store and filter water before it enters the surface and groundwater reservoirs. They remove nutrients and pollutants from water and they settle the sediment. It can reduce flooding by holding back peak water flows when water levels are high, and in some cases, storing water within the wetland. This results in more gradual discharge of water over a longer period of time, which can protect downstream property owners from flood damage. The Chattogram and Dhaka cities are now facing seasonal flood due to the filling up of natural wetlands for making residential and commercial area without considering the lowlands, hence can contribute to climate regulations. Peatlands act as long-term sinks for carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Carbon is retained in peatlands instead of being released into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Wetlands also improve water quality through mechanical, physical, physiochemical, biological, and biochemical processes. Wetlands slow and retain surface water, providing water storage and shoreline stabilization. Water storage refers to their ability to temporarily retain heavy rain, surface water, and flood waters. Shoreline stabilization refers to the stabilization of soil and vegetation along bodies of water. Wetland vegetation along the shorelines of rivers, streams, and lakes reduces erosion. Plants trap soil in their roots, helping to stabilize shorelines by dampening wave action and slower water currents. A wetland is a groundwater discharge area if water enters it by moving upwards from the soils beneath the wetland or from the unplanned areas surrounding it. These discharge wetlands are ecologically important because they help control erosion and maintain water quality. Conversely, some wetlands act as discharge areas, collecting surface water and allowing it to percolate down through the soil and rock to the groundwater. Wetlands also provide food, shelter, breeding and resting places for an incredible number of species of plants, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, and invertebrates. Wetlands provide the critical habitat that many such organisms need to survive. Wetlands are popular places for non-consumptive recreation such as photography, birdwatching, canoeing, hiking, snowshoeing, relaxing, and spiritual or cultural experiences. Some wetlands have interpretive facilities boardwalks, and viewing tower where people can go to observe wildlife and learn about nature. Wetlands are classified into three groups: saltwater wetlands, freshwater wetlands, and man-made wetlands. Saltwater wetlands can be divided into marine, estuarine, lagoonal. Man-made wetlands are aquaculture ponds, irrigated land and irrigation channels, salt pans, and hydroelectric dams like Kapai Lake. Freshwater wetlands can also have some varieties in Bangladesh. There are haws, bows, beels, and shills. It's a bowl-shaped, large tectonic depression. It receives surface runoff water by rivers and gulls, and consequently, how it becomes a very extensive water body in the monsoon and rise up mostly in the post-monsoon period. Bows are oxbow lakes formed by dead arms of rivers. Locally, the features are known as beel, bow, and shill. Usually, oxbow lakes are deeply flooded during the monsoon, either through local rainfall and runoff water or by river flood. Beels are large surface water bodies that accumulate surface runoff water through internal drainage channels. These depressions are mostly topographic lows produced by erosions and are seen all over Bangladesh. They are saucer-like depressions of a marshy character. Many of the beels dry up in the winter, but during the rains expand into broad and shallow sheet of water, which may be described as freshwater lagoons. Some of the most common names are Cholon Bill, Chad Bill, and Ariel Bill. Jhil, a local term representing a reach of an old river channel bed. Usually, it appears as an oxbow lake, such as Hathir Jhil, Dhaka. Wetland can also enhance the biodiversity. The wetlands of Bangladesh provide home for a considerable number of plant and animal species. They have long been adjusted to the dynamic characteristics of Bangladesh wetlands. There are about 140 species of wetland plants under 48 families, including 7 species of swamp forest trees. The freshwater wetlands are also characterized by the presence of a broad spectrum of faunal diversity that include fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, and also provide economic and social benefit. Wetland Resources of Bangladesh maintains the livelihood of millions of rural people in the floodplain of Bangladesh. Of the wetland-based resources, fish stands at the top due to its quality, quantity, and socio-economic contribution. More than 80% of the animal protein consumed by the Bangladeshi people comes from fish. Fish also provide other nutrients in the form of vitamin A, fat, and calcium to the diet. A total of 260 fish species have been described in the wetlands in Bangladesh. However, the list could go up around 400 if systematic sampling could be done year-round, covering different microhabitats, including near coastal waters. Around 75% of rural families in the floodplain are engaged in seasonal consumption, fishing mostly in floodlands, canals, and beels. About 2 million people are engaged in commercial fishing and associated activities. Fish constitutes nearly 6% of the gross domestic product and more than 12% of the country's export earning. Third countries are burning examples of damaging the wetlands. But restoration of wetland is a very difficult task on the part of any government. The government restoration of Hathir Jhil was done by force. The banks of river Buriganga and Turak are also recovered through harsh method. Same is true for the other small canals all around Dhaka city. In Chattogram, the Mohesh Khal and Chaktai Khal is under restoration process. Only government's strong will has made this long-desired job possible. However, the damage done by the filling up of wetlands both in Dhaka and Chattogram cannot be restored since they are being utilized for the residential areas and industries. The unplanned urbanization has not kept any scope for the water to stay or flow where they used to be, resulting into the groundwater depletion and other problems. Other measures that may be taken are Selected wetlands be declared as protected areas on a priority basis and their conservation ensured through regular monitoring and strict enforcement of law. Appropriate institutional framework needs to be set up and empowered by involving all concerned agencies for effective coordination in sustainable management of the wetlands. For creating awareness about sustainable wetland development and management, both formal and non-formal approaches should be adopted. Local wisdom in conservation and traditional uses of wetlands should be collected and compiled for adoption where applicable. Human resources in the government, NGOs, and local communities should be developed for conservation and sustainable management of wetlands.